Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today. Looking forward to getting into our Cabral HouseCalls. Every weekend, we get to answer our community's questions that have come in from the past couple of months. We let them just kind of come in one by one, and what we do is we write them down on a big document. And that document is one that I go through each and every weekend, and I take them question by question. So if you've ever written into the Ask Cabral page, your question will be answered. We're answering questions right now that have come in on January 14th, 15th, and it looks like we'll get to January 16th as well. So happy to answer these questions. They are all wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, or even health coach based on how to develop essentially that health coaching career that you've always wanted. So happy to answer those questions too. Always enjoy being asked them. You'll see a bunch of questions that have come in today, and I will refer people back to the podcast page. That's stephencabral.com/podcast. And the reason is these questions have already been answered, sometimes multiple times. And the other thing is I want people to get used to really going to that web page. And the reason is that it's not that I don't mind answering it, but we have hundreds of questions in the queue, and all of these questions can be searched. And you're going to get most likely a 20-minute to 25-minute podcast on your specific question rather than me being able to spend just a couple minutes on it. So that's why I want to provide that service. And what else can I say? Well, for those people that have a question that they don't want to wait 10 weeks or so for me to answer on the weekend house calls, they can ask that question at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's a free private Facebook group page that we invite everyone to join. We invite positive people to share their successes there, to ask their questions, whatever may be going on. So let's dive right into the show today. First question's coming in from Samantha. Samantha's writing in, hello, I just had a question regarding the detox. I've been on it for about a week. I'm doing 14 days and I'm experiencing bloating and have not lost any weight. Is this supposed to happen during the detox? Also, I have some mild increase in anxiety, but I'm getting that under control. I'm drinking more than enough water and I've been pretty strict and I'm not sure why I'm retaining the weight. I'm 5'9", 137 pounds. I would love an answer back to see if I'm doing something wrong. Thank you. So this is a great question, Samantha, and we do let people know about, it's probably somewhere around maybe 1 out of 100 people, 1 out of 90 people or so. They don't lose weight on the detox, yet they expected to. So it's actually very straight reason, the reason why. And I've talked about that on multiple podcasts just in the last couple of weeks. So hopefully you tuned in even just this past week. And on last week's house calls, I answered this question as well. Very similar. Most people will lose about 5 pounds in their first 7 days. They'll lose somewhere around 10 pounds if they have 20 pounds or more to lose in 2 weeks, and they'll lose 15 plus pounds in 21 days. Again, this means that you already came into it with at least 20, 30 pounds to lose. If you only have 7 or 8 pounds to lose, you'll probably lose 3 or 4 pounds or so your first week, and then another couple pounds the next week. And I've gone over how to lose weight the safe way. And so I would love for you to check out those shows. Now for you, if you haven't lost any weight and you have bloating, it sounds like a really straightforward case of some type of candida overgrowth or intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And the reason is that on the detox, you're going to be eating some vegan-based proteins. For lunch, you might be having chickpeas or you might be having beans. And if you're not used to those and they cause bloating, well, then you very well may have some candida overgrowth or SIBO, which is causing fermentation and gas and bloating. That will lead to additional inflammation. That inflammation will halt weight loss. So that's one potential reason. One of the reasons about anxiety or things like that, or poor sleep or whatever might be going on. I'd love you to check out episode 1145. Just head on over to stephencabral.com/1145 and you'll see those other answers as well. So Samantha, that is your starting place. You're not doing anything wrong. Remember, by doing the thing itself, like by going through a protocol, you oftentimes give your health coach, your practitioner, or whoever's, providing you with the protocol, the feedback in order to help you get to your goals faster. Because now I would say run an organic acids test, run a stool test. And that will let you know what type of overgrowth you have in your gut. Now you'll get to the root cause. You'll see if there is some type of H. pylori, parasites, candida, or SIBO going on there. And that's what I highly recommend. So check that out over at equilibriumnutrition.com. You can just type in OAT or organic acids test or stool test. And those are the ones that I would recommend for you, Samantha. All right, Alejandro is up next. What are some fundamental steps I can take if I'm suffering from mialgic encefalomielitis and I have struggles even reading or talking with people? Best wishes. All right, Alejandro, it sounds like you are a new listener to the Cabral Concept podcast, and that's not a problem. What I would do, and I can't recommend this enough, is I would go back and begin to listen to previous Cabral concepts. And the reason is that I'm someone that used to suffer from Addison's disease and myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue, immunodeficiency-based syndrome, or immune dysfunction syndrome. And it's a slower process. And actually, you know what? I spoke about it. Here we go. I spoke about it on episode 1144 just this past week. So please do check out the episode 1144. And my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, literally walks you through step by step on how to heal from any type of dis-ease of the body, not disease, but dis-ease of the body, as well as any type of gut-based issue or weight gain issue, etc. So I hope that you're able to check that out. Take your time with it. Again, honestly, but I do provide that as well as graduated exercise programs, etc. So answering that question in 2 minutes or so would be like someone asking you, what do I do with cancer? Like, what do I do for cancer? I mean, it would be unethical of me to even try to just say, hey, start with this, because it's a full protocol that you need to go through. That should not deter you by me saying that. It just means that, listen, there are things in life that you can't just say, oh, take some B12, take some CoQ10, take some magnesium, you'll be fine. No, that's not the way that some things work. And this is something that you need to look at from all levels. Without a doubt that people don't get myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is called or referred to as ME, just out of the blue. There's viral issues, there's heavy metal issues, there's stress in their life. There's a lot of things that can cause this, okay? So we want to look deeper into this. And again, a cursory overview is not great. Hello, just wondering about the best way to begin treatment by Dr. Cabral. I live in Australia. I also have various test results such as a fatty acid profile, hair tissue mineral analysis, and a gut explorer test. Is Dr. Cabral able to interpret these results during our first appointment, etc.? Also, is there a waiting period that could be placed on, etc.? My health issues are quite complex, so I presume I would require a fairly lengthy treatment plan. Thanks in advance, Con. All right, this is from CON. So I do interpret all outside labs, but my health coaching team does not. We really can't. People send us dozens of labs on top of just like the one lab they may have ordered from Equilibrium Nutrition. We're not able to get to that within a 30-minute call or 60-minute call. So what I recommend is applying to the private practice. However, we do not look at outside labs. We only look at the labs through equilibriumnutrition.com. And the reason is that these are the ones that all of our integrative health practitioners are trained on. And they're honestly the best of the best. Keep in mind, none of the labs are my labs. They're all outside labs from companies that I have tested myself, spent my own money on these labs, ran them as double blinds to make sure the same result came back on each of these labs the same day, the same time, the same person, to make sure the labs are legitimate. And there are many labs that people like. You named one, Con, in yours for the gut, and I took out the name. That is not a lab that is a reputable lab. That is a marketing-based lab. Remember, there's a lot of marketing companies out there right now selling supplements, and there's a lot of marketing companies out there selling these new at-home lab kits or so. But they're not. These are not functional medicine companies. So I wouldn't even use that data, to be honest. Hair tissue mineral analysis, absolutely. Fatty acids profile. It depends what we're looking at for fatty acids. Are we talking about the omega-6 versus omega-3 profile with arachidonic acid and DHA and EPA, ALA? I'm not sure. But you're welcome to apply to the private practice, but I'm going to let you see what is the best option for you, okay? So the private practice, you can always apply by going to any podcast page, just scrolling down past the show notes, and you'll see all of the links. So today's show notes are at stevencabral.com/1144. 1150. We're 1,150 shows in. So today's 1150. Head on over there and you will see the link to apply to the private practice. There is currently a waiting list to work with myself, but there's only a couple weeks waiting list to work with one of my health coaches. All right. Megan is up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. Firstly, thank you for all the incredible work you do. You're the first person in many, many, many years to give me hope that I can get well and live a life beyond my dreams. So I thank you for that. I've been listening to a recent podcast where the host talks about a certain bacterial strain that is essential for healing leaky gut. The product is called, I'm not going to put in the name of the product, and it contains a patented strain of Bacillus indicus, and I'm not going to put in the trademark either. My question is, are you into this product? No, absolutely not. I'm absolutely not into that. And any company telling you that you need one specific thing to heal your gut is a company or person that I would walk very slowly backwards away from. And here's why. There is no way that we need a special anything in order to be able to heal the body. So I tell you that from someone that has many different nutritional supplements that I formulate for equilibrium nutrition. But I've always told you straight out of the gates, yes, I formulate the absolute best products based on research. But what we're saying to you right now is that other people can get this as well. And also, in order to kill candida, bacterial overgrowth, all of those things, you can use oregano, you can use grapefruit seed extract, you can use all these different things, and they all work. So for someone to tell you that you need just one to heal leaky gut, they're just marketing to you. That's it, like plain and simple. What you need to do is first see, why do you have leaky gut? Why do you have intestinal permeability? Do you have candida overgrowth? Do you have bacterial overgrowth? Do you have weak stomach acid? Do you have not enough bile production? Do you have inflammation in the gut? Do you have food sensitivities? So that's what I would do. I'd figure out first, why do I have it? And then after that, I would start to repopulate that gut. So just be very, very careful, because I saw exactly what you wrote. I erased it from your question because I'm not going to talk negatively of anyone else. And it's ludicrous. That's it. It's absolutely ludicrous, especially since that certain bacteria doesn't even populate the small intestine. It's crazy. You have 28 feet of intestine, and you're talking about a bacteria that may populate 6 feet of that. So please be careful. Please be careful with these people selling you a poor bill of health. That's basically all I can say. So I apologize. I'm not trying to talk negatively about anybody, but that is just bad marketing, and it's out there. It is what it is. Jeanette's up next. I felt I couldn't ask this question on the Facebook page due to privacy, so we actually answered this question last week. All right, it was just a double question. We will take that one out. Terry's up next. Hi there. I've listened to your podcast and reading your book. I'm thinking about purchasing the 7-Day Detox. However, I have issues with chlorella. I think we're talking about cracked cell chlorella. In the past, yes, it was broken cell wall. I threw it up. Has this come up with clients before? Is there anything specific thing you suspect when clients have an issue with chlorella? I've been trying to heal many issues for a long time with toxins, weight gain, etc. A bit of background about me. Most of the tests you recommend, I have taken in the past. Let's see, I've taken them through other practitioners. I've also used the GAPS diet. It works as long as I eat soup. I'm aware that there are parasite issues, hormonal issues, blood sugar regulation. I was low carb while on the GAPS, and that led to blood sugar problems and weight gain, high cortisol. Now it is low. Since I believe issues were toxin related, I even did a week of panchakarma with a practitioner in Virginia. Okay, you're asking, can you do the 7-Day Detox? Yes, the 7-Day Detox does not contain chlorella in any form. Our heavy metal detox contains chlorella, and I can assure you that the type we have is third-party tested. It's the best out there. It's not even our brand. Remember, if there's a better brand, we use that brand. Like, that's always the truth, is that I would prefer not to have to formulate and buy, 5,000 bottles or so at a time with all of that upfront cost. It's very expensive, but I do it because I want the best for people, and I want the best in my practice and for myself, of course. So you can do the 7-Day Detox with no chlorella. There's none at all. So don't worry about that. It comes with the daily nutritional support shake, the FM Detox, and it comes with IU Detox, which is your triphala combined with curcumin and ginger. So great products, amazing products that we've been using now for many years. So that's that. No problem doing the 7-Day Detox. And then the other part is that I totally understand where you're coming from. You're high stress and now your it can't respond to stress as well. So you're lower cortisol. And without a doubt, you need to work with a qualified practitioner to help you go through the de-stress protocol in order you to enable to rebalance the body. And that means working on all of it. That means if there is parasite overgrowth, well, we need to eliminate the parasite. So we need to do a parasite-based protocol. And again, in the parasite-based protocol, there is no chlorella. So I can't recommend listening to a lot of the previous podcasts I have on how to move through all of these different protocols. But also, again, if you'd like to work with someone in my private practice or any of our integrative health practitioners, or you just want to begin with a protocol on your own, you can absolutely do that. And those protocols and labs are over at equilibriumnutrition.com. Okay, let's move on to Candace. Candace is asking, I'm wondering if you can help address any issues with children. I've recently discovered you thanks to becoming a certified coach with Amanda. In our curriculum, a few podcasts that have been recommended. Okay, I am a registered nurse turned stay-at-home mom, but I'm constantly doing my own research and have turned to the more holistic side of health. So much so that if I were to go back in the clinical field, my conscience would not allow me to do the same capacity I once was. I say all that to reach out regarding my 8-year-old daughter, who I constantly battle stomach issues with. I won't go into detail here as I'm not even sure you can address something that young, but I want to reach out to you before looking at a local pediatrician and then just prescribing another pill or wanting to run a myriad of tests that will likely not even address the root cause of what is going on. Thanks for all you do. So Candace, thank you for writing in. And as you might know, if you've started listening to any of my podcasts, I have 2 young daughters myself. And do keep in mind, we work with children in our practice all the time. So that's not an issue. And if you look over at equilibriumnutrition.com, which is just where I keep all of my protocols, I keep all of my labs, everything is just out there for people. You can see that we have a children's candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. And we really do customize protocols for children. If your child has stomach issues, I can tell you right now, it's most likely H. pylori or it's most likely candida or bacterial overgrowth. A lot of people assume the stomach, meaning like they just miscalculate where the stomach would actually hurt. So the stomach, when we're dealing with that, is really below the xiphoid process. But it's the intestines around the belly button that a lot of children and adults feel issues in. And so that's more of where the parasites, SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, candida would be. And then the H. pylori would typically be more in the stomach itself. So there can be other issues, but honestly, I know that, well, first of all, if you go to your pediatrician, they're not going to run, again, no offense, they're going to run blood work, which is fine to run, no problem at all. But my highest recommendation is that you run a organic acids test. That's a urine test at home that children and adults can do. The stool test, that's a stool test, obviously. And then there's the food sensitivity test that you can simply do with just a finger prick. I'll tell you right now, you have a great background. You might want to also look into integrativehealthpractitioner.org, where you can begin to use these holistic practices, this integrative health in a more, even in more of a conventional field. So that's what I would do for your daughter. It's what I've done for my own daughter. So my youngest daughter, she got food poisoning one time and ended up getting H. pylori. So the reason I found that out is I ran a stool test with her. So after that, subsequently, I said, okay, well, if there's H. pylori, let me check to see if there is any candida overgrowth. So, and I've run the food sensitivity test with both of my daughters. So I practice what I preach without a doubt. And this week, it actually ends tomorrow morning. We're offering 10% off all labs at equilibriumnutrition.com. It's just a pop-up offer. If you email us on Monday, it will already be taken down, but everything over there is 10% off. You'll see the little sale signs on all of the individual labs. Again, check it out. Just head on over to equilibriumnutrition.com. If it's the right fit, then great. If not, if you want to run them with your local practitioner, we have no problem with that either. Our job is just to get this information out to everyone in the world. And hopefully then you can share it with others as well. All right, let's do one more question. This one is from Samantha. Hi, Dr. Ball. I've been listening to your podcast since mid-2018 and found your topics so informative and important. Thank you for sharing this valuable information to everyone. My fiance has random outbursts of allergic reactions that cause either his lip or tongue to swell. This typically happens right when he wakes up and they happen randomly. He has never noticed it to be from a specific food that he's eaten. He's been tested for allergies and came back inconclusive because he is allergic to so many specimens. He was told he has angioedema and that is incurable but can be treated with medication. The last reaction he had started on the left side of his lip when he woke up in the morning, but by the end of the day, it had moved to the right side of his lip. I know this random swelling is not a normal thing, and I'm hoping you can recommend a test to take of what might be causing it. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Samantha. Samantha, thank you for writing in, and this is actually a very easy one for me to answer, so I do appreciate you writing in. You've already done the food sensitivity testing, and it said it was inconclusive because there were so many foods he was sensitive to. Now, remember, a regular conventional medicine doctor, they'll just say, oh, well, we couldn't figure it out because there's too many sensitivities. But an integrative doctor or a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine doctor or an integrative health practitioner will tell you that most likely is because the patient has a lot of what's called intestinal permeability or leaky gut. Now, we've been talking about that a lot today. Sometimes this is just by chance, these things just happen. These questions are literally in the order they came in. So here's the deal. You can prove it to your fiance by running an organic acids test and a stool test. Bottom line, that's all I would do, right? Because you can run so many other great tests, but you will find out why he has leaky gut. And then we'll do this. We'll go through what we know works, which is the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. Then we'll run, which is called the CBO finisher, or I should say we'll complete the CBO finisher, which is a heal and seal protocol to heal up the gut wall. Someone asked about this specific product you needed to use. Remember, I tell people all the time, how do you seal up the gut wall? Glutamine, aloe vera is very helpful, zinc partazine, and there's a few other things that work well as well, DGL. And again, you can see them in Healthy Gut Support. But I'll never tell you that this is magic. You don't need a magical strain. What you need to do is first remove, and then you can begin to put transient strains of good, healthy bacteria in there. You can repopulate with dairy-free acidophilus first, and then add in larger spectrum. We do it in a very specific way that uses biofilm disruptors that are all natural enzymes. And then we begin to remove, using what we know through Ayurvedic and natural-based protocols to remove the Candida and bacterial overgrowth, as well as whatever else might be there. And then we repopulate with healthy strains of good bacteria. We've been doing this for many, many years. And of course, we would love to help you as well. The organic acids test and stool test, all of those can be found right on over at equilibriumnutrition.com. And of course, I mentioned the labs. These are not our labs. We don't own the labs. You need a doctor to sign off on them. I sign off on them and I get them to you. That's the bottom line. We ship them to 19 different countries. But of course, you can also work with your local practitioner as long as they know how to read the labs properly and give you the right protocols. Remember, when you get a lab through Equilibrium Nutrition, you're not just getting the lab, someone to sign off on it for you. You're also getting my review of the lab, our interpretation, and you're getting a health coaching call to take you through your own personalized wellness protocol. So hopefully that's helpful. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. I'm saying goodbye quickly, but tomorrow we'll be back answering more of our community questions on part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in. Take care. Hope you're having a great weekend. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.